back to my channel. Make sure you like and subscribe if you like what I'm putting up. Back on land now, and I'm going to continue on with this 200 TDI engine rebuild. So far, I started this before I started the channel, so I've missed a good chunk of this. But we've had the crankshaft out, measured, all okay. New main bearings, rehomed the bores, new piston rings. The pistons were fine, the bores were all intolerant, so no machining needed on those. I'm trying to think what else I've done. Rebuilt the oil pump, new fuel pump. What else? Good paint, and then I've just reset up the timing for the camshaft to the crankshaft. On this build, we've got 200 TDI Zeus Timing Gears. So I'm just going to take you in a little bit closer on these. And when I was putting this together, it was a bit of a headache. Every time I got this to line up, I would turn it 2 revolutions and find then it would be not lining up correctly. I've not got the correct fitting instructions for a 200 TDI Zeus, so I was going off a 300 TDI Zeus and using that combined with a Land Rover manual for a timing belt to try and work out. It was also not lined up when I took it off, and I've now realised that the reason is we've got 36 teeth on the crankshaft gear and then 72 teeth on our middle idler and the camshaft gear, and then this one should be a 36 tooth, but it's actually got 38 tooth. So for every revolution of the crankshaft, I'm losing 2 teeth essentially. These need tightening up. I just need to clean them, get the Loctite on. Same with the camshaft end bolt, need to take that out, get Loctite on it. Fitted that, checked the end float, that's all within tolerance. I'm going to go through quickly the cylinder head rebuild, just going to check the valves, lap the seats in and change the oil seal on them. Otherwise everything on that's pretty good. So let's go make a start. Okay, so as you can see in the head I've already removed 7 of the valves. I'm just going to do a demonstration now on one that's remaining. Sometimes they can be a bit hard to break off on the collet first, so first off set the tool a bit more slack, break them all off, and then go through and remove the collets. First I like to position the head on its side like this, and then get a decent force. Split the collet with my fingers, and a good tip is just a magnetic tip screwdriver. Collet there. Keep everything in order, labelled, valve springs, everything. Okay, lift the tool off, and then you're going to get the spring, the top washer, it will separate. Lift off the seal. And finally push that through. As you can see, that's pretty coked up, but the valve seat itself looks in pretty good condition. So I'm going to clean up all the valves, finish cleaning up the head. We've got washers here as well, need to remove them, and then start putting it back together. Okay, so now I've cleaned up all the valves, decoked them, done an inspection, and what you want to be looking for here when you're doing an inspection is around that seat that there's no big dents or anything like that that's going to let the exhaust or inlet gases pass through when it's seated. I see there's small tiny dimples on this one, and I'll be able to get that out with the fine valve lapping paste. So got the plunger here, put the valve on, cover the seating surface with a fine lapping paste. If you've got deep pitting, maybe better to use the coarse lapping paste first and then finish off with a fine. There we are, that's enough. And then get a bit of engine oil, put that around the seat on the head, and that's just going to help with lubrication. Get that inside. Okay, so I've just zoomed in on the valve. I've got the head turned upside down, just let gravity help us a bit. And I'll rub that between my hands. Lift up, turn it a quarter turn, and repeat. Lift up, quarter turn, and repeat. I'm just going to do this over and over. Keep periodically checking the valve itself, see what the seat's looking like, and when I've got a nice finish all the way around, that's when I know I'm far enough. There's also a tolerance on these for how recessed the valve should be. I can't remember off the top of my head, but once I've got all the surfaces good, we'll double check that. But as it's never been done before on this engine, I'm pretty sure we're going to be within tolerance. That's had a good go there, so I'm just going to give this a quick clean up. Bit of rag. Yeah, so I don't know if I can pick that up on the camera. You can just see there a slight shine with a low spot, another there, and so that means that needs a little bit more grinding. Quickly before I do that, I'll just give, this seat was really good before I started, so I'm pretty confident this is going to be okay. Yeah, there's no dimples in there. But I'm just going to continue as I was, more lapping paste on the seat, the sealing surface. And what it's going to need is probably the same as what I did last time again. So let's get a bit of engine oil on there. And then once this is done, I'll go through, I'll do the other 7. Finally then, you've got to clean off all the valves, clean the cylinder head, make sure I've got rid of all the grit, all the lapping paste. Don't want any of that left in your engine. Get it nice and clean, and then we can go about refitting the valves, the springs, and then getting the head back on the engine itself. But yeah, I think I'm going to cut the video now and come back to fitting the valve. Okay, so now we have all the valves lapped in, good surface finish on them all, going to make a good seal. Kept everything in order, and you see when we remove the old valves, remove these old seals, so we're going to replace all these. So next job I'm going to do is just fit all these, a little bit of engine oil, help lubricate them. There we are. And yeah, essentially spring side facing upwards. These will sit on top of the guide. That's Okay, so that's the cylinder head done, all the valves are back, springs on. Getting ready now to put the head gasket on, so I'm just going to give the maintenance surfaces one final clean. Just using some brake cleaner for this. It was pretty clean already, just maybe a little bit of oil on the surface from where I've lubricated the balls. Make sure this is clean. Use a white rag and you can just wipe until I'm not picking up any more dirt. And also just feeling for any rough edges that might have not been cleaned up well earlier when we stripped down the whole block. But that's all okay. Some people, they will, because the manual says to use light oil to grease the threads of the cylinder head bolts, some people get over enthusiastic, put some oil inside here thinking it'll help, but what you can end up doing is putting a hydraulic load inside the block. You think you've got the oil inside and you're tightening. If there's nowhere to escape, it can put a pressure down in the block and crack it. So when we do lubricate those bolts, I'm just going to put a very fine smear on them all and then torque them down as per the manual. So that's pretty clean. We're going to do the same on the cylinder head and then fit the head gasket.